Try to see if your light will turn on.
Nope.
Slide it back and forth. That's in the middle, right? Is it turning on at all?
Nope.
All right. Wait, put it back where mine lights are on now. Something's off. Click it. Yeah, stay there. Okay. Now let me try. Yeah, I'm getting these. I have 200 miles on my car, and these 200 miles on my car. Hey, maybe you turn your phone on, and oh wait, and I got this one too. This might work a little bit. Okay, so you could just hold this like this to your face. All right, Maddie?
Is that the only color?
Yeah, that's the best one. No, you just switched it.
No, it's rainbow. This is the one that you had me on the first time.
All right, well, now that doesn't know how good that looks. But we're going to try to make it work. I got this one here. I need to get my lights back. All right, so I need you to, be proactive with it. All right, so we just left the movie theater. And I have Mom here. Cody didn't come because Cody is out with friends. And if you heard my last live, I talked a little bit about what's going on with my son. And this movie hit home when it came to that. I ended the movie by telling LJ that Madison, I need you in the middle. Let's figure that out, baby.
Oh, you gotta turn the camera.
No, you're gonna move over to the middle seat. There's a whole middle seat you can be on. How you feeling? Yeah, that's fine. So now, the situation is that we go see the movie, and when the movie ends, the first thing I say is, I thought about Cody 35 times. And Mom was like, so did I. And then we asked Maddie, and what did she say?
I say, yeah.
Yes, right? Yeah, we definitely thought about Cody because of all the drama that's happening with my son. And when the movie opens up, it's basically showing you the inside of a home between a father and a son. The father's making the son breakfast in the morning. Everything is going great. The father's congratulating the child with bacon, something that is not easily to come by in this post 28-day series, where now it's 28 years later. And they're kind of setting the stage. You can see there was no light bulbs. There was no light bulbs in the sockets, but it was daytime. But you can see that there was candles on the table that were all burnt, and the wax was dripping all around the candles. There was sharpening of the arrows, and they were using like a machine that looked like it was from the 1900s or 1800s. So what we're seeing is, if you know anything about the movies, we're dealing with a zombie situation, and in this zombie situation, 20 years later, humans exist, and fathers and sons have breakfast in the morning, and there's a mom upstairs in the bedroom that seems to weigh heavy on the family because she appears to be schizophrenic, and she's having these manic episodes where she's going through trauma, yelling, screaming, and then confusing who's in the room and who's who and what's what. And it was kind of like, tugged at your heartstrings right away. But that day was this glorious, amazing day where the father was taking out the son on his, let's call it like a bar mitzvah, where the kid was going to be a man. And this was the day that the child has been preparing for, and that was to get his first kill in this 28-year rendition of this, this trilogy, so to speak. So now, the kid does what he's supposed to do out there. He encounters some stuff. The father encounters this, what they refer to as the alpha, and this alpha is like, 7 and 8, maybe 8. Now, how tall would you think this Alpha was, Madison?
Alpha.
The
Oh,
Alpha.
like probably like 11 feet tall. Or
Yeah, like
12.
11 feet tall. Right. This is the Anunnaki reincarnated. This is the inception of the Anunnaki when it comes to human beings. The evolution of humanity has happened. There is an evolving of human beings in the last 28 years from when the virus first hit. So, what did you think about the Alpha?
It was scary. It had his meat out.
It had his meat out, right? He was full frontal, but not as full frontal as Harrison Ford in that movie that he did when he was in his 20s. But it was still full frontal, and the full frontal was tree trunk, full frontal. There were people in the audience that laughed and giggled about the full frontal of this Alpha for 10 minutes after the scene was over. Did anyone notice that?
No.
The giggling and all that kind of stuff because of the Alpha, LJ? Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah, there were people to my left that just could not get the Alpha's Madison, what you said?
Meat?
Meat. Yeah, couldn't get the Alpha's meat. Maddie, I need you a little more. Can you come closer? Yeah. So, you okay? Well, it looks like you're frowning. Are you frowning?
Me?
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So now, the Alpha is introduced to us, and the Alpha was so menacing and ran with a crew and was very, very organized, and he was the total leader. So they showing us that the evolution of humanity is structured, and there's a class system there. No one is confused who's in charge. Okay, and now the Alpha runs with minions, and these minions are out there just roaming, hoping to find something new. There was a scene towards the end where the young man was cooking a fish, and when he got up and ran, they stopped and they stole the fish. So these are not just bloodthirsty, instinctual characters. These are like soldiers who have a plan and have some sort of they have a strategic goal as a collective, and one of them is, of course, to obtain food for the clan, I guess. And there was even a scene where there was what you would refer to this in the zombie world as herds. These were herds of zombies, and these zombies were even bathing. And one of the bathing scenes, they show one of the zombie women was pregnant. So we have evolved to this creature that still has sex, that still can get someone pregnant. What did y'all think about that? The pregnant woman in the movie and all that kind of stuff.
I told Mom before she even gave birth. I said I think that baby inside will be regular. And I said.
Oh, you say I think the baby inside will be regular. What made you think that?
I don't know. I just thought that since the baby was inside, and did you see how they cut
the umbilical cord?
Umbilical cord.
Right.
That
How did they cut it? What was unique about the cutting of it?
Well, at first she tried to use like some like piece of like rope plastic.
Yeah, it looked like it was some sort of zip tie.
Yeah, and
She was gonna zip tie it or something.
And then her son.
And when we say her son, the woman who was very manic, depressive, and schizophrenic, she is now with the son, and the son, the adventure went from father and son, a coming of age story, living in this off-grid environment, almost thinking that this is the world that it's turned into. But no, this movie has proven that the world is only your interpretation of it. Like I always argue that we are living in some sort of construct where there's only 20 stories, there's 20 scripts. And out of the 20 scripts, the only thing that separates us is class. And that's usually done through monetization, monies. So the more money you have, the way you respond to the script you've been given. Okay, and Maddie's a little tired. It's after 11 o'clock at night. The movie was a 9 p.m. movie, and so she's feeling it. So please bear with us. So now, 28 years later, movie, there is an issue from the very beginning, because right after when they came back from this coming of age, the father and son, where the son makes a kill, this alpha that we were introduced to is chasing and hunting them down. They were able to thwart off the minions. They were able to get away, and the father was doing everything he can to save his son. And then they finally made it back, and they threw this huge party. And now the father and son is laughing, joking. Everybody, the son is still a little like, the father's like rubbing it in what a great job the son did, how he was fearless under pressure, and the son just was like, Dad, that didn't happen like that. Like the young man wanted to tell everybody, I wasn't that brave. I was actually scared and terrified. And out of the corner of the son's eye, he captures a glimpse of his father kind of like exiting the party. And the party consists of the whole town, damn near. So we got 100 people partying. The father slides off, and the son decides to follow the father. And this leads us to the movie making a huge shift. And the shift was what, Maddie?
What was this? Wait, what are you saying? The shift was what? What is the question?
The question is, what was the shift in the movie from father and son and coming of age? What changed the movie? What made the movie change? Why was the kid out there with his mother now all of a sudden? What was what happened?
At that party, at the celebration party, the dad walked off with this woman, and the son caught that, and the son started following the dad and this lady, and they got to this alley, and the son saw the dad having sex with the woman, and it just snapped him, and it was like the kid was like, oh my God, my dad has been lying to me. He thought that everything his dad was saying was a lie now. He thought that his dad didn't love his mother at all. And it was just like a reality check for him.
A reality check from him. You're right. It changed the kid.
Yes.
Like, that's why I told my son, be careful meeting your heroes, because they're going to just be human beings. Be careful. Pedestalizing, like I always tell them, never pedestalize anyone. Never put anyone up on a pedestal. Love yourself, and you're your only competition. But always understand that people are going to be people. So we have a man who has a wife who's out of her damn mind, who's been in the bedridden, mind you. The son left her a piece of bacon, and the camera goes to the bacon. She never touched the bacon. So we're talking about a woman who's in the bed, who doesn't even eat. She's not even eating. And this father just went toe to toe with the alpha. And when that adrenaline is coming off of you, and there's alcohol, and they're drinking and they're partying, and was it him? Who was the aggressor in this situation? Who was the aggressive one? The man or the woman?
And the aggressive one in what situation?
Who was the aggressive one when the guy slid off with the girl?
The woman.
Tell me about that.
Because the woman, they were all like, well, the dad is drunk, like very drunk, like about a slip drunk, and this woman was just throwing herself on him, and then she took his hand and she was like pulling him into the alley, and then he was like falling and stuff, And then, so she was like pulling him. She was like forcing herself on him.
Right.
And then that's what happened. But it really happened because he was drunk and she was forcing herself on it. And it was like in the moment.
It was like at the moment. Right. So this is what happened. The son witnessed it, and it changed the son. The son actually starts to say and verbalize it to the grandfather. I think everything he says is a lie. Now his father's a liar because he felt that his father didn't honor the mother. Instead of just understanding that the father was drunk, there was a lot of carnal emotions. They wanted to get, like, sex is natural for people to have. And the son seeing that, the son actually escapes out of their little town, out of their little shelter that's covered in barbed wire, that's totally protecting them from the outside world, and he sneaks the mother out because he heard a rumor about a doctor that was out there. Because when his father and him were there running from the Alpha, they were peering through one of the broken walls, and they saw in the distance this huge, what appeared to be some sort of bonfire. And the father just poo-pooed it away. Oh, that's that crazy person that we always heard about, that crazy person. And then the grandfather wound up slipping up and saying, well, yeah, I think he used to be a doctor when he was, before all this happened. But, he's out there, burning bodies. He's like out of his mind. And the son just like, wow, my father knows there's a doctor somewhere around, and he wouldn't go see him. No wonder, because look what he's doing with other women. He's having sex with other women, and he knows my mother's sick, and he's not trying to help her. So the son just totally just walks away from the father, escapes with the mother. The mother has no idea what's going on, and they go on this now adventure to get to that bonfire. And as they get into the bonfire, they're going through so many different obstacles in order to get there. And one in which is that zombie woman that gives birth to a child that doesn't have the virus. And the doctor, when they finally make it to the doctor's like, wait. So you telling me that used to be that was from a zombie woman? He said, man, I always wondered about that. And he said, it's great to see how powerful the placenta is. And we all know that the placenta is one of the highest selling parts of a female once she gives birth. There's a lot of groups of people that want the placenta to come home with them. And they even freeze the placenta, and they even eat the placenta. Did you know about that, Madison? A placenta is the part inside of the womb, inside of the body, that basically absorbs. You know how you're on your menstrual cycle now? So you bleed for how many days?
Like a week or something.
Okay, so let's say 7 days. So you have 7 days of blood. While you're pregnant, that doesn't happen. So all that blood goes to the baby, but it goes through the placenta first. And the placenta is some sort of filter, and it was obviously able to filter out that virus, and she gave birth to a child that was not infected. How amazing is the human body, babe, and the placenta, and you as a woman, you have that ability. You understand? Mm-hmm. All right, so now we have a situation where this father and son the mother and son are going through these adventures, and now all those fears that the son had while he was with the father, he is now stepping to the plate and protecting the mom under massive amounts of pressure, under massive amounts of they bump into another alpha, and that alpha has his crew, and this kid is holding it down for the family. Very impressive, shooting them with the bows and arrows, shooting them with the arrows, and doing really, really well to protect his mother. So now, I say all that to say this.
Oh wait, they were running from one of the alphas, and they walked in a gas station. And it was like full of gas. The mom was choking.
Fumes, yeah, there was fumes all there,
the
yeah.
mom was choking. And he was choking, and then all those creatures, zombies, went in there, and they were all, and then the boy started hitting them with these random, just like
Whatever he could pick
gas
up. Yeah, yeah,
tanks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was just hitting them, and then one of these what do you call them? One of the military guys.
Well, there was a scene where there was a bunch of military guys fighting the Alpha. Like it switched to like total military with helmets, bullets, guns. So we have to. It's quickly letting us know this movie is not. This is not the world is not off grid. The world is not farming for their food. This was some young man who showed up with an iPhone and a military or outfit. He said he was from Sweden. He was a Swiss
He was
soldier. He was
he was a booty hole.
he was a a-hole.
Yes.
Okay, so he was a bit of a jerk. Yes, he was a bit of a jerk, but I don't even want to get into his character. His character doesn't live very, very long. He was the reason why he was there is because the director wanted us to understand that this is not a story about a little boy living in a place where there's no electricity and they're like sharpening arrows. They got other people that are like fully militaried out with helmets and night vision and all kind of stuff, bullets and technology, iPhones. The guy was talking about girlfriends. This is a movie that's basically saying that there's a whole world going on out there other than this little subculture that we were introduced to. So they just needed to take us out of our reality. Like, oh wait, this is not going to be about no farm boy and his daddy, or now the farm boy and his mother. This is about them now bumping into the 28 years has now created massive amounts of subcultures. And these subcultures are just like, you know how they have emo people, Maddie?
Yeah.
You know, you have emo people, you have heavy rock and roll people, all these different types of people. The reason why you have that is because they're just different sects of us humanity. And it still exists even in this 28 years later. 28 years later, there's going to be still a group of emos. There's still going to be a group of rock heavy metalheads. There's still going to be a group of juicers who just lift weights all damn day long. There's going to be a group of nerds. This humanity still exists as we know it. This 28 years later, we did not go into a movie that was just about some people who's like, you know, growing their own apples. So I thought it was needed for them to insert that character, the Swiss guy who's like you said, a-hole. He had to be an a-hole because they didn't want you to feel nothing for him when he dies. They had to get rid of that character. That character was a nothing burger. He was just in there just so you understand what the world is kind of like. And then they got rid of him and you didn't feel nothing. You didn't feel bad for him or anything. Did you feel bad at all? Or did you not?
No, when he died, no.
You didn't feel bad. So the director purposefully made him an a-hole. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What do you think, Mom? Yeah. Okay. So now, I'm not going to even get into any of that. I want to get into how I'm correlating this to what's going on with my son. Towards the end of the movie, after Mom is gone, the Swiss Army guy's gone.
Wait. How did you feel when the mom died?
I felt nothing, honestly.
Yeah.
I felt nothing. I didn't like the way the kid just gave up. They find out that the mother has cancer. The doctor does basically an assessment. He does he feels around her breast and he's like, there's a lot of lumps there. He feels around her lymph nodes, under her arms. He feels all these areas and he's like, you know, your mom ain't gonna live long. See, we all gonna die here. This is what's inevitable, our death. And there's some really cool stuff. The thumbnail shows you all those different skeleton heads that this man, he was actually capturing these zombies, boiling their skin and hair off, and then um, placing them on this. It was, you know how the catacombs in Paris. In Paris, they have all these tunnels with all these skeletons. Are you aware of this, Madison? The catacombs. Does that make any sense?
Catacomb?
Catacombs is underneath Paris. If you go underneath Paris, they have 30 miles or more. That's like from here to the Bronx and back to the Bronx of all just like I think it's 7 million heads, and they're placed exactly the way that man placed them.
Yeah.
So they were kind of letting us know that, like putting it in our minds where we can relate. We've seen this before. This doesn't, like, did it seem strange to you, all those skeletons everywhere? Or did it seem like you knew or you seen this before?
It seemed kind of strange, but it didn't really bother me.
It didn't bother you. Yeah, and that was another thing. There was so many young people in this theater, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 year olds in this theater that I'm thinking the dulling down of our society is super heavy. Where we're bringing our children to the movie theaters younger and younger, and they're being desensitized. So this was basically like the catacombs, but outdoors. And this man that was the doctor at one time, he's just setting up this huge shrine because when he goes and we keep evolving, he's like, one day they'll look at this and they'll try to answer the question, who did this? Because that's what we do with the catacombs. We went down there, we saw all these miles and miles and miles of skeleton heads, and then I think it was something crazy like all left thigh bones, not right thigh bone. It was like crazy down there in Paris. Like, wait a minute, then where's the lower jaw? There was a thing where none of them had their lower jaws. Where the lower jaws go? Why are they stacked the way they're stacked? Like, what's really going on? So now, anyway, my point that I'm trying to get to, let me get to it, is that I talk about the 20 scripts that we're given, and I look at my son and I see that this young man is, he looks like he's off kiltered because the father, the son makes it back to where the father is and secretly hides the baby so that they can find the baby. Like when they wake up in the morning, when they're doing their rounds, the security rounds, they can find the baby. And he left it there, like with a note, like, Dad, I gotta just find myself. All this, like, what? Your father has busted his ass to teach you how to fight, to teach you everything that you freaking know. And because you saw him slide off with a chick while he was drunk, now you gotta go find yourself. Because the man that you thought wasn't. Like, what? So I'm thinking about my kid and how, whoa, this is the script. This is the script. And I'm like telling my wife, I'm like, babe, what this movie is saying is that no matter what you do as a father, you are preparing your son, whether they know it or not, for the life in the future that they're going to have. And it's like, it's a little different because there are no zombies to fight. There's only there's no coming of age in this story. This kid is now thinking at, like, the kid is only what, 14 years old. He's believing that he's going to tackle that world outside where he lived, outside where his father, and he's just gonna just walk it and just see what happens. Forget about those alphas that are out there. Forget about the crew that rolls with them. I'm going to... Can I have something to drink, please? I'm over here choking. Mom is like, what? Huh? Yeah, Mom is tired. Mom is tired. And the kid, he's now going to just take on the world on his own by himself. But what happens is he bumps into another subculture. Not the army people, not the off-grid people. He bumps into the culture of young people that are wearing all velour tracksuits. And they want to help him fight these zombies that are chasing him. Mind you, they're like 12 zombies chasing him. So they jump down, they help him out. And the way the guy who's like... Mind you, the kid is like 14. The guy's like 22. And he reaches his hand out. and he has a ring on every single finger. He has a ring, and he shakes the kid's hand and says, "I want us to be friends." And I was just like,
You saw his rotten teeth.
"Yeah, he had rotten teeth. Yeah, I did see that."
Like how you got a new tracksuit on and all that jewelry but rotten teeth?
A tracksuit, because there's not enough toothpaste in that 28 years later, baby. 28 years later, there's gold lying around, but not toothpaste. So, my point is that it's like I'm so heartbroken the way this guy's character was so heartbroken. And he's like, when they found the baby, he's like running and screaming for his son. Like he has no idea what did he do to have his son just leave him like this. And his son is like,
And
just
then
has
before
to.
all this happened, when he found out the next morning,
Put it by your face,
the
please,
next
the light.
morning, when the son saw the dad, he pulled out a knife on him.
He even pulled out a knife on his father when his father went to go into the mother's bedroom. And the father snatched that knife so quick out the son's hand it was going to pop his son right across the goddamn mouth. And he just held himself back. And then he gave the son back the knife. Like, boy, I don't know what's going on here, but you better slow your freaking roll. And that's when the kid ran off.
Punched the wall in.
Who punched the wall
The
in?
father.
I didn't see
When he
that.
was going down the stairs.
I didn't see that part.
Did you?
Yeah, I had those kids behind me talking so much. I mean, there was kids behind me having a full-fledged conversation. Full-fledged conversation.
Was it about the movie?
No, what do you mean was it about the movie? They were just talking nonstop. Oh, what are they talking about the movie? I have no idea. It just was nothing. Like just full-fledged conversation. I'm like, yo, what's going on here?
I told the person behind me to shush because they kept on going like this with their food, like hush. And then it was just like over and over. I let it slide like the first 10 times. I'm like, dude, chill out.
So I have to understand that even though in our modern times our children are still, we're all the same. In other words, this script that we're given doesn't change us. So this kid who wants to be his own man and wants to hate on his father is what I feel that I'm experiencing. I can see the hatred in my son. I can see that he hates me, and it breaks my heart, and it makes me super melancholy about, like, what did I do? And I know he didn't see me cheat on his mother like this guy did in the movie. But what was it? What was it that gave him the doubt in me that now he wants to do his own thing? And this movie kind of shows that script is alive and well 28 years later. In a post-apocalyptic zombie experience, the son still has to find his own way. The son still has to pull the proverbial knife out on the father and tell the father, don't come near me, or don't come near my mother, on some old new principles that the son, because you raise the son to have principles, you raise the son to have morals, values, and the son will find that in his own new way. So when now in the movie, this guy, he meets up with all those people with the velour suits, and they're like having fun killing zombies, thinking everything is cool, and he's with the bow and arrow, and they know how to swing a golf club with but he knows how to swing the bow and arrow that he learned from his father, and he might not remember it for a while. And the father's going to be home with the crazy broken heart, not knowing what happened to his wife, not knowing if ever his son is going to be okay. But I think the father does know that the son will be okay. The father will say, or the father will find comfort in knowing that he did a good enough job that my son should be okay. And I got to think about that, and I got to, I can't keep saying that there's only 20 scripts and can't act like, my son is not reading from one. Thank you for tuning in. 28 years later, a coming of age tale. Say bye, Maddie.
Bye. Peace.
Say bye, Mommy.
Good night.
Oh wait, babe, can you read the chat? Let me know what's going on. I see I got Mom is tired. Warlock, double tap the screen. Oh look, she's been proactive. Thank you. Warlock, I appreciate you. It was epic. It gets it. People don't like it though. I get it if people don't like it. How can it be epic and you think it's okay if people don't like it? I get it though. There's a Mr. Soviet Rogenton. I don't know. How you doing? David, how are you? Put your hand on your camera for a Lunar Jackson edit. Put your hand on your camera for a, I don't know who Lamar Jackson edits. I don't know who Lamar Jackson is. Put your hand on your camera for Lamar Jackson edit. All right, I gotta look that up. David Hush. Okay. All right. It was epic. Bye. Thank you, Warlock. I appreciate you. You're a great dad for teaching your daughter about humanity at an early age. Thank you for that. Hopefully she carries the knowledge as she grows older. I hope so too. Hey, I was raising my son to be an intellectual, and it's totally has backfired. But who knows? He might be teaching. You know, he might be a professor one day, putting his intellectual mind to work over what he's learned from his dad, and hopefully he recognizes that it was me. But if the script is pretty much set, they don't recognize that stuff for a long time. They don't see that for a very long time. Thank you. You are appreciated, and I love you. Boom.
Peace.